Chael Sonnen responds to critics of Henry Cejudo-Jose Aldo fight. Recently, the UFC announced that Jose Aldo is going to challenge bantamweight champ Henry Cejudo at UFC 250 on May 9th. While a lot of folks are pumped to see the legendary Aldo fight for another title, others have piled on the matchup since the star's coming off a loss. Well, if you're one of the people who've been criticizing the UFC for the bout, you may be interested in hearing why Chael Sonnen says you're wrong. Let's jump back for a second. Aldo made his bantamweight debut in December at UFC 245 and dropped a split decision to Marlon Moraes. Cejudo, however, along with a lot of people, scored the fight for Aldo, and he began pushing for a fight with the star. Dana White said he was on board with the idea, and recently the May 9th matchup was announced. As we alluded to before, the fight wasn't well received on all fronts. For example, bantamweight contender Aljamain Sterling tweeted out this: "The fight that no one asked for and that nobody wanted to see. Hashtag make rankings great again." And another top 135er, Peter Yan, shared out this comment about Cejudo: "This clown choosing Aldo because I don't speak perfect English. Since when is Jose the fluent speaker? What kind of logic is that? Henry knows he is not a draw and he is unsecured. In his head, he already lost the fight to me. UFC, give me someone who is confident in himself." Other people also argued that Aldo shouldn't be getting a title fight since he's coming off a loss. But in response to the blowback, Sonnen recently said the following on his YouTube channel:
"At the pushback that Jose Aldo is getting for receiving a title shot against Henry Cejudo. Not only a title shot, but a main event, home country of Brazil, a lot of things going Jose's way. But there does seem to be a real jealousy here, and you're going to have a hard time convincing me that you're using logic. Jose Aldo is the greatest featherweight of all time. 10 years on top, never beaten. He did a really great job. By the way, Henry Cejudo wants to fight him. Henry's opinion has to matter somewhere in here. We cannot punish guys for success. We cannot just say you're the champion and therefore your say and your opinion and your wants and needs go out the window and you just fight the number one guy. That's just a little bit of a silly argument. A guy that does some heavy lifting like Henry and went and became a champ and saved an entire division, and this is the guy that he wants, and you've got Henry's blessing. Oh, and by the way, the second best guy in line, Marlon, Henry already fought.
It's an interesting argument. It's certainly true that Aldo is one of the all-time greats, and Cejudo has already had a historic MMA career himself by becoming a champ. What do you guys think? Should people lay off criticizing the bout due to what Aldo and Cejudo have accomplished? Or are the fight purists and other contenders right? Should title shots only be handed to top-ranked fighters who are coming off wins? At the end of the day, however, a key reason this fight's been made is because of the financial considerations. UFC 250 is taking place in Sao Paulo, Brazil, where Aldo is a big draw, and it's probably the biggest fight the UFC can make right now at 135. Conor McGregor outlines how he's ensuring money will keep rolling in after fighting. Conor McGregor has made truckloads of money via his MMA career, and of course, his massive boxing match with Floyd Mayweather Jr. back in 2017. But the notorious one has also branched out into other business endeavors, so that he'll continue to have streams of money coming in after he's retired from fighting. In addition to various sponsorships McGregor's had over the years, most notably, he launched his proper number 12 whiskey in 2018. More recently, the Irish star landed his very own shoe deal with Reebok. So why has McGregor continued to branch out? In a recent interview the former UFC champ did that was shared out by the Mac Life, he said the following:
"I mean, athletic life is short, right? Nobody, as cruel as it sounds, nobody cares about the athlete post-career. I mean, it's as simple as that. And that's not just fighting, you know what I mean? It's any sport. So I've studied many athletes' careers, both in combat sport and both in professional sport, and just analysed it and saw the do's and the don'ts and things that can create an afterlife in the game. And for me, I've just gone down things that I'm passionate about. Obviously, I went down the fight game because I was passionate about it. I wouldn't have reached the levels I reached in the fight game without having passion for it. And then the whiskey game, the fashion game, you know what I mean? So
pretty solid advice, right? If you're passionate about something, then you're much more likely to put energy into it and make it a success. Even if you're not a fan of McGregor, you have to admit he seems like a pretty driven and motivated person. By all indications, he could have supported a pretty lavish lifestyle for himself and his family based off his fight earnings alone. But McGregor's also expressed concern when other fighters have experienced tough times and may not be able to support themselves or their families. Case in point, back when Demetrius Johnson moved to one championship in in late 2018, many believed the move would be the death knell of the UFC's flyweight division. At the time, several flyweight contenders had also been cut by the UFC. McGregor proceeded to lash out at one CEO, Chatri Sityodtong, by tweeting the following: "You must now take all the 125-pounders that have been let go, Chatri. You talk all of this martial art and respect talk, yet your greed has directly cost more than half a fighting division its chance to earn income for their family. Have respect at your Chatri, signed the division." Thankfully, the UFC's 125 division is still alive and kicking. Joseph Benavidez is set to battle Davison Figueiredo for the vacant flyweight title at UFC Norfolk on Saturday.
I don't have much confidence anymore in judges. You know, all these kids, when things don't go well for them and they have a bad performance, they're expected to go to the press conference and give all their answers, all the reasons. Guys like you call me up after a fight, and good, bad, or indifferent, I answer your questions as painfully as they are sometimes when we crap the bed as a team. Whereas all the judges and referees, they get to vanish into thin air. In Israel last year, I'll give you an example. Emmanuel Sanchez versus Pitbull. All three judges scored the third round for Pitbull. And I asked them, do takedowns matter in the unified rules of MMA? They said, no, they don't. Then I said, why did all you judges score that fight for that round for Pitbull, Well, the takedown was the end of the round. Well, you just said the takedowns don't matter, especially that one. He took Manny down, and then he held on to him for 30 seconds, and it was the end of the round, where Emmanuel Sanchez had outstruck him the rest of the round, and there was no wrestling or grappling the rest of the round. One of the judges was grateful enough to at least listen to my opinion. The other two judges got upset with me, and they told me they need to listen to my shit, and they took off. So that's the problem here with judging, my friends.
Wow. That is crazy. Is there anything to be done, or just we have to suck it up and just live like this?
No, we've got to make a better stance on this. One, I think there should be 5 judges. 2, I think there should be up to the year updating. 3, judges quit watching. Don't be fans of the sport. Be students of the sport. That's the problem, I think, is with the judges. And you know what? When the judges make mistakes, they go home with the same paycheck. Guess what? Paul Felder and his family lost $82,000 because of the judges. That's a considerable income. Do I think he's worth more than that? For sure. But at the end of the day, that's $82,000. That's a lot of milk money.
Talked to Khabib. He says, Conor handpicks his opponents, and a rematch with Conor doesn't make sense. Obviously, you and Conor want that rematch.
Yeah,
Where do you stand with that?
First of all, Conor does not handpick his opponents.
Or picks easy opponents.
Conor McGregor has fought anybody that we've asked him to fight and who's been available. I mean, guys have pulled out on Conor 2 or 3 times.
Right.
Conor literally went to the gym and said, tell me who I'm fighting.
Khabib wasn't impressed with the Conor win over Cerrone. Says, he doesn't deserve a rematch.
They hate each other.
Right, he doesn't deserve
They hate each other.
Right.
If you think that you're going to do an interview with Khabib and he's going to say great things about Conor McGregor,
right,
it's never going to happen. And if you interview Conor McGregor, he's never going to say great things about Khabib. They hate each other.
So who's Conor's next fight? You still want it to be Khabib?
Yeah, Khabib if he wins, but I don't know if Conor wants to wait for him. We'll see what happens. Okay. Conor might not wait.
Khabib also said he would box Floyd Mayweather 11 rounds, 12th round, at 5 minutes in the MMA octagon. Would you allow Khabib to box Floyd? Do you think he could hang with, the GOAT?
I don't know. Khabib has other fights right now that he needs to focus on instead of Floyd Mayweather.